Okay. Recording in progress. Good morning or good afternoon to everybody, wherever you are. Once again, as always, a huge yashikoya to the OU for setting up these shiurim and for all the wonderful things that they do in so many different ways. Today's shiur is let me give you the details. The today's shiur, which I titled, if Hashem is so good, why do things look so bad, is not dealing with the question of tzaddik v'rava. We are not dealing with the question of why do seemingly wonderful good people have bad lives that seemingly should make no sense, right? And why do wicked, evil people seem to have wonderful lives? If God is just, that makes no sense. That's not our question. That's not a 20-minute Chizuk share. That's a huge, long discussion. We have a different question, okay? I want to explain very clearly what our question is going to be, right? So that no one's confused and they say, well, we're answering one question. Watch. Here's what we believe. Mainstream, TORAH Hashkafa, believes the following. We believe that Atzur Tamim Pa'alo, Kikol Drachav Mishpat. Atzur, Kodesh Baruch Hu, Ma'otzur Yeshuasi, right? Tzur Mishloach Helmet. Tzur, Tamim Pa'alo. Pa'alo, his actions, Po'el, his work, is Tamim, it's unblemished. There's no blemish. Everything he does is completely pure and complete and unblemished. Why? Well, Kol Drachav Mishpat. His whole path is justice. All he does is justice. So if everything he does is just, then clearly everything he does in this world is unblemished. And then the pasuk seems to repeat itself again. Keled Munah. He's a God who has faithfulness, doesn't fall asleep at the wheel, doesn't take bribes, right? Ein Avel. There's no injustice, which makes sense because we just said Kol Drachav Mishpat. There's no injustice. Tzaddik v'yashar, who's a tzaddik, he's yashar, he's straight, no injustice. Pasuk seems to be repetitious, which, if this was a chumash class, you could say, fine, it's hazinu, it's a shira, it's allowed to be repetitious. Right? But the famous mashal given by the Chavetz Chaim to explain the power of the pasuk, his famous mashal is, the courts here on earth, Joe robs the bank, there's witnesses, he's caught, everybody knows in that town, you rob the bank, you go to jail for 3 years. That's the rule. That's the law. You rob the bank. There's witnesses. Sure, he gets up, open and shut. What's the deal? You go to jail for 3 years. That's justice. That's pure justice. You rob the bank. He knew what the law was. The law was clear. There's witnesses. There's no doubt that he did it. No reason in the world why he should not go to jail for 3 years. But there's other people that are now going to suffer. His 90-year-old mother, who's in an old age home that nobody's going to visit, she didn't rob a bank. Right, his kids who aren't going to go to summer camp are embarrassed to walk into school. They didn't rob a bank, right? His wife didn't rob a bank. They go to the judge and say, "Hey, listen, Joe. Okay, Joe's in jail, but Nebuch, his 90-year-old mother, what does she suffer for? That's not right, right? His wife, it's not right. Kid, what will the judge say? That's why the cookie crumbles. Nothing I can do about it. I mean, it's just the way it is. Bad luck. You know what I mean? Life stakes. The way it goes." Kodesh Baruch Hu is not like that. The judge did. He makes on every individual is Atzur Tamim Palo, the first half of the pasuk, Atzur Tamim Palo, Kol Drachav Mishpat. Joe, Yosef, who with I don't know, embezzled, right? Whatever. It's whatever God Kodesh Baruch Hu gives him, he deserves it. He deserves it. But we don't understand, but he deserves it. How about all the other side people? Oh, that's also taken into account. There's no innocent bystanders. Keled Munah. Ein Avel. There's no injustice. Everything was calculated and calibrated. The entire ripple effect of what happens to Yosef, his cousins, his chavrusa, his business partners, his friends, the guy that sits next to him in shul, his 90-year-old mother, his great aunt who was somewhere else but saw it, in on some WhatsApp chat and is now that's all they. Okay. His second cousin wants to be moved, who shares the same last name, and people are making fun of him. Yeah. That's all. It's not. There's no. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Tough luck. Nothing you can do about it. It's the luck of the draw. No. Asur Tamim Palo, what he does is emblemish, Kol Drachav Mishpat, to that individual. Ripple effects that come out to that individual are also taken into account. Those calibrated. Kalamuna doesn't fall asleep at the wheel. He didn't miss the boat. He didn't oops, oh well, what am I supposed to tell you? There's no injustice. No injustice. Not to the second cousin, not to the third cousin once removed, not to his former roommate, the Gurnish. Sadiq v'yasharhu. That's what we believe. We can't make sense of it. That's a different class. That's not the question I'm asking. I'm asking the following question. So that's true, because Baruch has a precise and brilliant plan, and everything is calibrated and calculated. So Sadiq v'yashar, there's ein avel, there's no injustice. And certainly in the created world, we see brilliance and forethought and planning in every genome and every molecule and every protein. Unbelievable wisdom and forethought, absolutely. The miraculous survival of the Jewish people, Pelagic, unbelievable, indescribable, nonsensical, gewaltig. But if there's really justice on every single solitary individual, because the Baruch was really take into account not only what happens to the Yosef in Sderot, but Sprinza Schwartz in Kalamazoo, Michigan, who's in pain because of what you read about that happened to Yosef in Sderot, right? Yeah, Kodesh thought of her too. He knew all the ripple effect. There's going to be a Sprinza in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and there's going to be his kid and his uncle and his cousin and his second cousin must be moved. It was all calculated, and it's all brilliantly planned out, and it's all justice, and it's all fine-tuned. Absolutely. If that's true, why doesn't it look that way? The pasuk goes out of its way to be extraordinarily repetitious, to drive home the point that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is tamim, unblemished, tzaddik, he's righteous. There's not one iota of injustice anywhere in the entire scheme of things. So how can it look so ridiculous? It looks ridiculous. It's wacko, completely not. We're not idiot. We're not. We see the brilliance of the created world. We can, microscopes and things, and we see the unbelievable, the planets, the forces in nature. We see where we stand in awe. The more science we learn, we're in awe. We're not dumb. So why can't we just look and see? And if it's so sensical, why does it look so nonsensical? That's the question. Why does it look so nonsensical? Why does it look so impossible to understand? Why does it look like that? If it's really so put together, why does it look so crazy? That's precisely the question. And remember, we said last class, Hashem besimcha. Hashem besimcha. How are we into Hashem besimcha with all this crazy stuff going on? No, we're not happy. We're crying. Yirmiyahu Navi was crying. He was sad. He had a vision of Yerushalayim being burnt to the ground, but he was besimcha. Otherwise, he couldn't have had a nevuah. Because if there was Hashem besimcha, the word besimcha rearranges machshava. We use our machshava. We believe that everything is calculated and calibrated by Kodesh Baruch Hu, and it's all the best. So we serve Hashem by saying it's all besimcha. We believe Kodesh Baruch Hu does all for the best. There's a plan. It's all going to make sense, and it's all makes sense. And it's all a good idea, and this is the best thing, absolutely the best thing. So if it's absolutely the best thing, we believe it's the best thing, and we're using our machshava. We said, okay, I'm not going by my emotions 100%. I'm going by machshava. But everything that Kodesh Baruch Hu does the best. There's a plan here, and I look at what's going on. Why can't I see a plan? Why can't I see a semblance of a plan? Why can't I see, I don't get it. All these people, we don't need to go through all the horrors. This is not just one little thing. Okay, so someday we'll understand. This is just a complete mishmash mess. And yet we believe it's absolutely calibrated to every single solitary Yiddish neshama anywhere on the planet. If something taken into account what's going on. So if it's so calibrated and calculated and amazing, why does it look so completely like random and ridiculous? That's our question. The answer is not mine, my friends. The answer is a mushroom. I originally heard it in the name of Rav Hutner Zatzal, and I was always quoting it in the name of Rav Hutner. But then I don't remember how I discovered this, but somehow, somewhere, in the course of my the travels, I discovered that the truth is the following mushal was actually said by Rav Elchanan Wasserman Zatzal. Rav Elchanan Wasserman, if you remember, was in America as World War II broke out, right? And everyone pleaded with him, stay in America, like it's going down the tubes there. And he said, no, I go with my flock. I have to go back to my yeshiva. And he got on a boat, and they all watched him leave, and nobody thought they'd ever see him again. And unfortunately, we did not. Right? This was his last shmooze, right? Which was remembered by people who did escape the Holocaust and managed to somehow get out, right? This was his last shmooze as the Nazis were closing in, and it was crystal clear that al pi derech hateva, most people are not going to get out. And this was his mushal he gave. We'll jazz it up a little bit, of course, but this is his mushal. You got to use your imagination. It's a mushal. You got a guy, and he grows up in a city. He lives in a condominium, top floor, 20th floor of his condominium. His school, all the schooling he goes to is a building right next door. He does a little shopping in a supermarket on the other side of the building, and he grows up, and he never leaves that city. All he's ever seen in his whole life is the university building and his condominium, and he works from home, and the supermarket where he goes shopping. That's all he knows. He doesn't know nothing, doesn't know anything else. That's what he does all day. Every morning he goes to the supermarket and he buys himself a bagel because he loves bagels. There's a bagel every morning for breakfast. And one day he says, you know what? I got to get out of here, man. Like, there's a big world out there. I wonder what's out. Like, I never drove out of the city. I wonder what's going on out there. So he gets in his car and he drives out and he says, whoa, there are trees, there's flowers, there's grass. This is amazing. And he's driving around and he stops at a beautiful piece of land. He said, wow, this is gorgeous, nice, flat, beautiful piece of land. We can build it. We can build a condominium. I can build a shopping center. There's something good thing you can do with this. And he sees there's a guy driving out onto this piece of land with the funniest looking machine he's ever seen in his life. And he's looking at him, and it's the weirdest thing. It got all these like knives or something, and he's driving up and down, and he's like ripping up the land. And he says, what a lunatic. What's he doing that for? The guy go back over. And the guy turned this piece of land into mud. What a terrible guy. Why would you do that? It's such a nice piece of land. Why would anybody turn a piece of land into mud? Okay, the guy's a little nuts. I don't know. And he sees the guy get off, and he's walking around. He has a bowl with something, and he's dropping stuff into the mud. And he said, what's that guy doing? And he walks over and he sticks his hand in the bowl and he picks up these funny looking things. He tastes it and he says, this is food. I mean, it's not very tasty, but you can like eat this. Why would you put food in mud? He decided this guy is a very evil person. He's just an evil person. He takes a beautiful piece of land that looks so pretty and he rips it up and he throws food into mud. And the guy, he's just a bad guy. There's bad people in this world. He's like, I'm a sicko, bad guy. But he decides to wait around, and we're using our imagination. So he waits around to see what's going to happen. Unbelievable. Beautiful, tall, brown and white flowers. He never saw flowers like that in his supermarket. He's seen roses and tulips, but he never saw these kind of things. But it's really very pretty. It's like brown, white, golden. And he said, I got it. Oh, I'm so stupid. He's not a bad guy. He's grinding up land. And he's not even a worser guy for throwing away food. He grows pretty flowers. I guess that's how I don't know how you grow flowers. I don't know. I don't know. I guess that's how you do it. And he's growing flowers. He's a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's a good guy. What a wonderful fellow. He grows pretty flowers. And he sticks around. He sees the guy's coming with a big machine going, oh, he's cutting them down. He said, oh, Wonder why he's cutting them down. Oh, he's probably taking them to people in an old age home. He's probably gonna, go visit people in the hospital and then put flowers in a vase. That's probably what he's gonna do. And he's waiting to see him gather the flowers, and he gathers up these pretty brown-looking things, and he has this horrible-looking machine, and he's grinding it into a useless powder. What? This is a sicko. That's sick. This is sick. You spend all that time growing pretty flowers to do what? To destroy them. What are you nuts? This is just evil. Like, okay, just don't do anything. Don't grow flowers and don't destroy them. Like, who asked you to grow the flowers? But you grow pretty flowers, and then you grind them up into a useless powder, right? Same as surgery, right? It's crazy. What a machinery. And I got to get out of here. This guy, he's going to kill people. He's a crazy guy. And he sticks around a little longer. And he sees the guys taking the powder. And he's like pouring water in it, put junk in it, mixing it around. He says, what's he doing? What's he doing? And he walks over and he sees this goop glop in this bowl. And he sticks his hand in. And he says, oh, it's pretty good. What do you call this stuff? Call it dough, man. Oh, dough. And then he says, I got it. I can go home now. I got it. I got it. I didn't understand anything. I'm stupid. He's smart. First, I thought he was a bad guy because he was ruining a piece of land. Then I said, no. He's a good guy. He grows pretty flowers. Then I said, no. He's a bad guy because he destroys flowers. I was wrong all the way wrong. He wasn't bad for destroying land. And he wasn't even good for growing flowers. He's making dough. The whole thing was to make dough. Everything I saw, I misread and misunderstood. This is a good guy, and he's making dough, and I'm going to go home now because now everything makes sense, and this is great. And he gets into his car, and he looks out the window, and he sees the guy is taking this dough and rolling it into a ball. So he looks out the window, and the guy opens up some big closet-looking thing, and there's a fire in there, and the guy rolls up this ball of dough and throws it into the fire and slams the door shut. And he said, what just happened? What just happened? What just happened? The guy just fell off his rocker. Now, zero makes sense. You grow pretty flowers and destroy them because you're some kind of a deranged lunatic. But you grow flowers to make powder, to make food, make it into a yummy roll thing, and then you burn it to a crisp. This is more evil than humanity can even imagine. This guy is just the essence of destruction for destruction's sake. And he's about to run away and get the heck out of here, where the door opens to that closet, and out comes a bagel. A bagel. I love bagel. I have bagel every day for breakfast. That's so cool. He says, who are you, man? And he says, well, I'm a farmer and I'm a baker. And that's how you make bagels. What were you thinking? He said, that's how you make bagels? Well, what'd you think? I don't know. You go to the supermarket and bagel. I don't know how you make bagels. And then he realizes he misunderstood the whole thing. What he thought was good was not good. What he thought was bad was certainly not bad. Every step of the way, he misread the process. And he misread what was going on. And he had no idea what the heck he was talking about. So when he was happy for the wrong thing. Oh, pretty flowers, that's a pretty. You're an idiot. No pretty flowers. Stick around long enough, you're an idiot. Oh, terrible, he's destroying it. Shut up. What are you blabbering about, man? Stick around till the end. Bagel. Well, how was I supposed to know that this useless, what does a useless powder have to do with the bagel? Like, how the heck is anybody supposed to know that this, like, white powder is bagel? Like, I'm supposed to know that. Like, no, they're not bagels. How was I supposed to know it's bagels? That's a good point. You would have no idea in the planet unless you ever baked bread. That's us, my friends. That's us, my friends. See, if you know the process, so we don't need to wait to see the bagel comes out. We're standing next to this guy and said, what is your problem? What are you doing? What are you doing? He's planting, he's plowing, he's threshing. Like, what are you getting all worked up about? But there's terrible fire. He says, oven, I'll slow down. Like, what is your problem? And he's looking at us and saying, you guys are getting like, you see what's going on? This is terrible. We got to do something. And we're looking at him saying, what is the problem with, like, what do you know? Just relax, bud. It's bagel. What? Trust me, it's bagel. Because I know the process. So I know what I'm looking at. But we don't know the process. We don't know how God will reach the end of the 6,000-year process. We have no idea. We don't know. Great Kabbalists possibly do, 100%. But on us little people. And once you see the bagel come out of the oven, you see the bagel come out of the oven. Bagel come out of the oven. Bagel. Oh, who would have thought? That was so cool, man. Who would have thought? I never that. That's amazing. Wow. How'd you do that? That was so smart. Now you're smart when the bagel comes out of the oven. But until the bagel comes out of the oven, it's impossible to connect grinding up what looks like pretty flowers to a yummy bagel. Like, there's no way you would ever make such a connection unless you happen to know the process. But we don't know the process. And the bagel hasn't come out of the oven yet. The state of Israel, Jewish survival of Jewish people, prophecies are being fulfilled. I don't know what you think when you see about all the demonstrations around the world that say gas the Jews. And you saw the guy in the London Underground announcing the thing, right? Palestine, that would, this is great. And the Hamas martyrs, you're appalled by it. I'm thrilled by it. Baruch Hashem, getting closer to the end of the day is exactly what was predicted. Less than 1% of the world population, a small little country. Why are people demonstrating all over the world? Thousands more people get killed all the time in all sorts of third world countries and no one even knows. Countries they can't even pronounce their names. But all they're doing, the whole world's obsessed with what's going on here in little Israel. Baruch Hashem, because we're the Nivchar. They intuitively sort of know it, but they don't understand what they know. And when the bagel comes out of the oven, the bagel will come out of the oven. And that's what we're preparing for. Absolutely. Right? I'm not pro-anti-Semitism. Right? I don't want to chas v'shalom anybody in London to get hurt or anybody anywhere in the world. God forbid. And we have to fight it. Hishtadlus, protests, politicians, police. But when you just see what's happening in the world, it's like what's predicted. That's a little bit of the process we do know. I don't know why it has to be that way, but that's the plan, man. Right? When Mashiach comes, the bagel comes out of the oven. So sometimes we see it, we read the books, Nachum Seltzer, Yoel Gold, and you read all these amazing stories and individual situations. And sometimes we see it, and you read a story, and it's a whole 20-year saga, and at the end, and everything makes sense, and it's all brilliant, and you're impressed, and you're inspired when you finish reading the book. Sometimes it goes, Baruch Hu opens our eyes to certain incidents. On a global scale of the Jewish people, no. we don't see it yet. We certainly don't see it, right? Yes, we look at the human body and we see brilliance in planning. We look at what's going on to see how it all is all calibrated, calculated. Tamim palo kol dracha mishpat kalamuna. It's we just close our eyes and we believe because that's what we have to believe. And it's not all that hard because the miraculous survival of Jewish people were clearly the Nivchar. If you're going to use your brains, you wouldn't predict that we'd be here today at all in a Jewish country fighting a war. What a prime minister was Emin Binyamin. A few years ago, Binyamins were going up in smoke, you know what I mean? So that don't make no sense either, folks. So we don't make any sense, no matter how you slice it. We just have a moon and bitachon that there's a plan. That's why it makes sense that it's nonsensical to us. There's no reason why it should make sense because we are that guy from the city watching things which if you don't know the process, it doesn't make sense. And until you see the bagel coming out of the oven, you would never guess in a bazillion years that it makes sense. But when it's over, it'll be like, whoa, Kodesh Baruch Hu, that was so smart. And Kodesh Baruch Hu will think, you're dumb, God, like thinking. That's what we believe will happen. What do we do until then? How do people make weddings? when you watch the clips of these Chayalim dancing around the Chadodi, you know what I mean, and OUisrael Chai, doesn't it strike you as like, how the heck did they do that? Are they delusional? Are they like smoking something? Are they just in denial that like, tomorrow they're going to be who knows where under what kind of thing? They're just dancing because they're drugged up. How do we go to Chasanas? Oh, so for that we need David HaMelech. We turn to David HaMelech in times of sorrow because he had a pretty hard life, David HaMelech. And he's the one who gives us a chizuk of how to deal with things. And at least for David HaMelech, the bagel came out of the oven, Shlomo Melech, based on Migdash, right? But while it was going on, things looked pretty crazy for David HaMelech. David HaMelech says like this, and we say it in our daven. Ani b'chastecha batachti. I have faith, I trust in your chesed Hashem. Yogel libi b'shuasecha. My heart will rejoice. Gila bina diza v'chetva. Ashigol Hashem ki gamal. I will sing out to Hashem because he's done good for me. Say the Meforshim, as I explained in my siddur. What do you mean, ani b'chastecha batachti? He didn't see the chesed, but I trust in your chesed. No. David was saying the Seder Meforshim. David said this pasuk when he didn't see chesed. He saw darkness. He saw gloom. He saw his father trying to kill him. He saw his son trying to kill him. He saw him running away from home. He saw disaster and complete chaos. Even though my life is dark, I have bitachon that this is chesed. I don't see chesed. This don't look like chesed to me. But everything Hashem does is good. Therefore, how sure am I that this is chesed? That it don't look like that? I'm so sure that Yogel Libi, my heart will rejoice. Be Yeshua Techa. When the Yeshua comes, when my salvation comes, I'll rejoice. There's going to be a salvation, and when that salvation comes, I'm going to look back and I'm going to say, wow, that was chesed. I'm positive that when that happens, I'm going to sing. Because I believe it's chesed. I don't see it, but I'm sure that when it all comes out to an end, when the Yeshua comes, I'm going to be singing about this time in my life because it's going to be great. Well, if that's true, if you really, really believe that when the Yeshua comes, you'll look back and see this as chesed and you'll sing then, well then, what do you do now? Well, then I might as well sing now. Ashir al Hashem, I'm going to sing to Hashem, ki gamal aloi, because I know that all he does is good. This is good. I just said that when the Yeshua comes, I'm going to sing because I'll look back and be good. So I believe that when Mashiach comes, I'll look back and feel this is good, so it is good. So if it is good, why aren't I singing now? So I'm going to sing now. I have faith that this is chesed. I don't see it, but I have been talking. Mashiach's going to come, and it's all going to make sense. Absolutely. Yeshua's going to come, and I believe it'll all make sense. How? I have no idea, but what do I know? But maybe it'll come out of the oven, and it'll all make sense. So if that's true, Ashir al Hashem ki gamal. But I might as well sing now. Because Hashem's done chesed to me because I believe that it's chesed. It's very difficult. But the Jewish people have the ability to do that. The Jewish people have the ability to make a chasana and then just at the end of the chuppah say a kapitel tilim for all the darkness and then go back out to war and then Friday night is quiet, then sing l'chadodi, and then 2 hours later, get in your jeeps and, shoot rockets, and that some of your comrades may not be singing l'chadodi next week. And the next week, you sing l'chadodi again. Because we believe it's chesed. Difficult belief. But that's what we believe. Why can't we see it? Because we're that farmer guy. We don't know the process. We haven't seen the bagel. Why do you think you should be? Like, what do you think you should be able to understand? Of course we can't understand. That's the power of Bichat. That's the power of the end of days. Right? What happened in Golus Mitzrayim? Always remember, folks, Golus Mitzrayim is a paradigm for all future exiles and redemptions. Moshe Rabbeinu was to Paro. Okay, Paro, let people go. We're out of here. Let's go. We're out of here. And Paro said, yeah, watch this, bud. Let's make the work harder. Even Moshe Rabbeinu struggled with that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, since you sent me, hey, it's only gotten worse, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because relax, you'll see it's going to be great. Just relax. Always gets worse before it gets better. It's darkest before dawn. Everybody bases it. Final Geula. We'll have the same thing, just like in Mitzrayim. We'll have a somewhat of redemption where it seems to be okay. We're on our way out. And bam, and all of a sudden it gets worse. Take a deep breath, and then we're gone. That's what we believe. And when the redemption does come, we'll look back and say, that was so smart. You won't even remember. You won't even remember what your questions were when the Mashiach finally comes. Hashem, we should all be safe for that as soon as absolutely possible. Everybody should stay safe. This Limud Torah should be a schus for everybody that needs a refuah, and everybody needs to come home, and everybody that needs to stay safe. Have a wonderful day.